Yep. Hello, I'm Danny. This is the first time I've done one of these, so bear with me. I work with Kev and Dan and Sakis over at Buybox. You can apply for a job if you like, I don't know. So I did this for some of the people at where we work once, and I just thought I'd do it again here just to see if there's anything useful. A few little tips and bits and bobs that I've collected over the last couple of months. Some of this stuff has got a little bit easier actually since I last did it. So the UI is a little bit different now, a little bit more discoverable, thankfully. But there are some URLs, if you can see them there. If you want to see this actual website, you can go to that URL there, and there's some. That's where the actual code for it is, and I'm there if you can. Right. So first thing I'm going to show is the dollar variable, which if I open the Chrome tools, first of all, I assume you all know about inspect elements and things like that, so you can actually view a button like that. But if you notice when you click on a button, you'll see this little equals $0 here, and I've seen that around and never really understood what it meant, if it meant anything at all. It actually has now got a tooltip on it, which is useful. I don't think it had that before. But what it means is it stored whatever you've clicked on in that variable named $0. And if you go to the console and type $0, then it appears there. So it's just a way to get access to it. So you could do $0 dot in a text, for example, and it'll evaluate that. It's just a useful way of doing it. And if you click on another element after that, that then becomes $0, and the previous one that you selected becomes $1. So $1 is now what was $0. So that goes back through the stack like that. If you do something like $0 in a text, the result of that value of that evaluation gets stored in the $_ variable. So if you do $_ then that is the same as what was just last evaluated. So it just kind of stores that there. If you forgot how you evaluated, if you want to get it back, it just stores it there. Just a little helpful thing. Completely unrelated, but I thought I'd throw it in because it was something new since last time. Not sure if you've ever seen document design mode, but if you type that in and turn it on, document design mode on, then you can, instead of having to, if you want to make some quick changes to a page just to see how it looks, then suddenly you can start typing in the HTML page for no good reason. But it does help if you want to check how things expand and contract when there's more or less text in there. You can do it in buttons as well, and pretty much any other bit of text in there. Slightly useful. It does stop most JavaScript executing at the same time, and you can turn it off again, obviously, by setting that back to off. It doesn't obviously save it anywhere or anything like that, but it's sometimes useful if you just want to see how a certain bit of text behaves when it's larger than the normal values that you've got on your website. I'm sure most of you have done console.log, obviously. It just logs out to the console, whatever's in the function. But there are a couple of ways of doing that. I've got 3 buttons here: console log, console group, and console table. I'll just scroll back to what these buttons actually do. So this one is just a standard console log, taking in an array of 3 objects. The console group, first of all, calls console group with a value, and at the end, console group end, but the rest of it's the same. And console table is just the console table function with the same array passed in. So if I clear that, just to make it easier, hopefully you can see this. Console log, just as a standard console log, as you'd expect. There they are, the object that we passed in. Console group groups it under this sort of heading called user details, and it's sort of folded away like that. So if you've got lots of console logs going on because you're debugging something, it's quite nice to sort of group them together like that. That sometimes helps. And if you've got a large array of data that you want to log out and you want to visualize, then console table turns that into a little table like that within the console window. So sometimes it's easier to see things that way. Hopefully you can see that right down the bottom there. Nice, useful, hopefully, things. There is a debugger command in JavaScript, hopefully, if you know about that or not. If you put that in JavaScript and then execute it, then it pauses the debugger at that location. Sometimes it's tricky to find if you want to put a breakpoint in or something like that. It's tricky to find the right line, especially if you've minimized it or whatever. So sometimes it's easy just to put in a debugger statement. Obviously, make sure you don't ship with that, because that could cause problems for people. But you can normally set lint rules to warn you if you've got one of those in. That's sometimes useful if you're trying to find that exact point to break at. Monitoring events is something you can do quite easily as well if you want to know when something's happening to a particular node in your document. These are the values to use. The general version is monitor events, and you pass in a node. And then to unmonitor, you call unmonitor events. So we've got a button down here. If I just inspect that to get to it, and then type monitor events, and because I've selected it, I can use that $0. So I'm now monitoring that button, and every time I do anything over it, which means either I can move my mouse over it or click it or anything else that causes an event to fire, they start being logged to the console there. And there's a click in there somewhere as well, if you can see that mouse move, pointer move, and so on. And then you can unmonitor just by calling unmonitor. You can also have a more specific, because obviously there's a lot of events there, you have a more specific use by typing in the name of the event afterwards. So you could monitor just any event that's got the word click in it, to monitor just mouse clicks or pointer or mouse move or whatever you want. Okay, eager evaluation is an easy, quick one just to show, but there is actual options here. This little cog, you can see it just down here. Eager evaluation, you can turn that on. Just a little easy thing to note, that you could just, it just shows you the value underneath before you even press return. So if I did that in a text thing again, you'll see the value there. Don't know what I've selected, but that's the inner text of it. It only shows anything that doesn't cause side effects. So if I did inner text equals hi, then it wouldn't show any values, because that's causing side effects. But as soon as I just ask for a value of something, it shows it underneath without having to press return. It's just an option that's kind of hidden away in these menus over here. So that's quite useful. Snippets, you can go quite deep into that. That's in the sources area. Let me just try and hide some of these things. In sources, hidden away, because this UI is just all over the place, there's a thing called snippets under sources here. And you can just add little bits of JavaScript and save them as snippets here. If there's something you always do on a website when you're either manually testing or want to see how things are aligned correctly, things like that, you could put the snippet in here and it's just always saved there. So the example that's always used for this is this all colors thing, which when you run it, it outputs all the colors it's found on the current web page. So maybe you're doing a sort of UI pass and you want to make sure you're not using the incorrect colors or anything like that. You could just output all the colors on a page and see them all nicely formatted there. You can also, the one I've added here, so it puts an outline to every element, every node, so you can see how things line up. You can do pretty much anything. It's just JavaScript. It's just stored pretty much as a file within Chrome. And there's whole websites dedicated to just people, users submitting these little snippets that help people do various things. You could even sort of a rudimentary automated sort of system to sign into certain websites by calling various methods, if you like. And just refresh that so that it doesn't show all that nonsense. Okay. Sensors. So if you're using things like location, and you want to see where your location is, you can do that through JavaScript APIs within Chrome quite easily. But if you want to sort of mock where your location is, you can obviously do that within your own code by just passing in whatever value you like. But you can also, there is also a way to find it. It's hidden away under here, sensors. And then you can override where Chrome thinks you are. So there's some built-in ones. You can say I'm in Berlin, and then click the button, and it'll tell you the coordinates for Berlin and so on. So that's if you've got some sort of specific bug that's happening at a specific location. That's an easy way for you to try it out without altering your code. So you could use it in production even without altering your code, and without going to Berlin, I suppose. If you notice, I found it quite difficult to find sensors then with all the different menus and everything, but there is actually a command list built in because they obviously had issues themselves finding all this stuff. So it's called the run command there on this Mac. It's Command Shift and P. So you just type Command Shift P, and then this sort of command thing comes up, and you can search for sensors, and it'll show you the sensors pane and pop up. So if you're ever looking for something specific within DevTools, then you can bring that drawer up and do a search, and it'll probably find it for you. Screenshots. If you need to take a screenshot of a page that's quite long, perhaps doesn't fit all on your monitor in one place, there are extensions that help you do that, but there is also built-in hidden away again within the Chrome DevTools. So you could find it by typing in capture, and then you've got capture area, capture full size screenshot, and capture node. And screenshot I think is just the window. So full size, you want the whole document in one image. So you click on that, saves it as a PNG down here, and then you click on that, and there it is as a PNG. Yeah, useful. You can also do that if you just have a node selected, and then do capture node screenshot. Then it will just save an image of the node that you had selected there, complete with highlighting if you want. So that's pretty useful as well. Yeah, I think I've rattled through that quite quick actually, but there's some just interesting bits. You can actually, if you really wanted to, you can open Chrome DevTools for the Chrome DevTools, and then the Chrome DevTools for those Chrome DevTools. And if someone doesn't lock their PC at work, you could do that several times and just walk away. That's fun. Well, it might be useful. I don't know why. You might want to see how they style their Chrome DevTools. I don't know. But there's stuff in there, loads and loads of stuff that would take more than 15 minutes to go through. It could actually show you code coverage, show you how the animations that you've got in CSS interact with each other, layers of your HTML that you've got. You can record your performance and play them back. You can pretend that you're on 3G rather than on whatever high-speed internet you've got. All sorts of stuff in there, but those were the sort of 10 things that I wanted to show off today, and that's about it, I think. Cheers.